Karey Hanks is running for District 35A. She and her family make their home in Eugene, Idaho. She holds an associate's degree in education from Ricks College and a bachelor's degree in psychology from Brigham Young University, Idaho. She previously served as a Republican member of the Idaho House of Representatives from 2017 to 2018. Karey and her husband, Burke, are the happy parents of 7 children and 14 grandchildren. A strong gun rights advocate, Karey is a proud member of the National Rifle Association, Gun Owners of America, and the Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. And as I said before, she's running for District 35, the House CA. So we'll turn the time over to Karey.
Thank you. I see Mark there, but maybe we'll switch over to me in a minute. I'm Karey Hanks, and first of all, I'd like to thank Cheryl for planning this and working with Elodie to put this together. And I appreciate all of those who are watching today for making the effort to be informed on the candidates that are running for office in Jefferson County. This will be a unique election. We're being encouraged to vote absentee. So it's crucial that we contact our neighbors and families and encourage them to get informed and vote. So why am I running? Like you, I want to protect and preserve the values of our district and our small town community way of life. As your legislator in 2017 and 18, I voted to cut taxes. Let's see, oh, okay. I was just reading the thing. I voted to cut taxes and bureaucratic red tape so families and businesses, including farming operations, could be more prosperous and successful. I co-sponsored the grocery tax repeal, legislation to protect our preborn babies, and co-sponsored bills to expand our Second Amendment rights. I opposed many health and welfare expenditures and rules, and I've worked both in the legislature and in the past 2 years to end Common Core. Like you, I know families are the fundamental unit of society, and I'll continue to fight hard to champion the issues that keep our families safe from outside interests and from further government intrusion. So, I call myself a constitutional conservative. What does that mean? There's an organization, it's called the American Conservative Union, and it's a nationwide organization, and they take votes that occur in each of the legislatures, and then they score you on how conservative, as far as taxes, regulations, things like that. My American Conservative Union score is 96% for the term that I served, compared to my opponent's score of just 56%. So I want you to know I don't just talk the talk. It's actually pretty easy to go to Boise and follow the crowd and follow leadership and be wined and dined by the lobbyists. And I think this is why Idaho is becoming more liberal. This is why we are seeing more laws that limit individual rights, that grow government, and that increase spending. For example, my opponent voted against limiting the number of bond elections in a year while supporting Common Core. He supported increased daycare regulations and unnecessary spending on appropriations for Lava Hot Springs, Hispanic Affairs, Idaho Public Television, and the Commission on the Arts. So while these may be feel-good votes, this is not the proper role of government, nor the wise use of our tax dollars. It can be difficult to vote no when you know a bill is going to pass anyway, but going with the flow means losing more of our freedoms. And so my record shows that I'm not afraid to vote to preserve the basic rights upon which this great country was founded. Would our founding fathers in this climate of going along to get along be described as extremists for voting to guard our rights to life, liberty, and property? You have a clear choice in the upcoming election, in the primary, and it's vital that we vote to protect the traditional values and the small town communities that we true Idahoans love so much. If you'd like to contact me, it's kareyhanks.com. I'm on Facebook, and my cell number is 208-313-3911. And if you want to ask me some questions, that's pretty much, I think a lot of people already know me, and hopefully you know my record by now. So.
Yeah, Karey, I think you should also expound on all the many things that you've done for our community, as far as land bridges, the problems on US 20. You're constantly out giving Constitution classes. You've done so much more for our community than any representative we've had. Even though you're not in office, you're still doing all those things. And I wonder if you could expound on those things a little bit also. And I'll click off and just listen for your answer.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. For me, I don't have to be in an office to serve my community. And I believe strongly in doing what I can to preserve the freedoms that we have. I want to teach our next generations. So I have visited several classrooms in our district, 5th grade, 8th grade, high school government classes. I bring copies of the Constitution, and we talk about different parts of the Constitution, the 3 branches sometimes. Something that's really important to me is to teach our youth the difference between a republic and a democracy. Those words are used interchangeably so much in our public discourse, and there's a very stark difference. So I teach that, and I love that. I love to do that. It's one of the most fun things I do is to teach these youth and to plant seeds, and I encourage them to go home and talk to their parents too. And I've been, I work really hard with like our county people, sheriff, the Idaho or the Island Park Preservation Coalition. We've worked very hard to try to keep the wildlife overpasses out of Fremont County. And people say, well, we need to protect the wildlife. And while that's true, there are a lot of things that are changing. Our cars are getting better at protecting us from animals and warning us. We don't want the fences. There will be miles and miles of fences, which will basically lock us out from a lot of public access. So I've worked really hard. Besides the expense, we already have so many roads and bridges that need to be repaired. And so we need to get that done and not be building these migratory corridors, which they would become. I just believe in serving in my community and whatever I can do and teaching. So thank you. I appreciate the question.
Can I ask a question now? Is it my time?
Yes, go ahead.
For Ms. Hanks? I was just curious, in her time in the legislature, what was her number one obstacle that she had to face, and what was the most difficult thing that she faced when she was over there in Boise?
That's a great question. I think it was very difficult. It seemed like leadership already had things pretty much mapped out, what they were going to do. And so we would have really great bills that we wanted to present. For example, with the Medicaid expansion, Representative Zollinger had some good ideas. We were working with some organizations on some good ideas to help those who are in the gap. So it didn't go over to a government program like we're seeing now. And so that's one example. One of the big problems that I see too is the rule review. So the first month or so we would spend in our committees going over rules that were presented by agencies, and it was hard to get anything off, to get the rules rejected. that I felt were limiting to us as a people, that infringed on our rights. And so what happens with those rules is, say there was one about, they want to take the oath, take reference to God out of the oath. And we rejected that. We wanted to keep it in, but then when it went to the Senate, they rejected it. And there was a big hubbub about it. I think we ended up keeping it in. But if only one house rejects a rule, then they can do that. And I think that both houses need to review and support the rules. So that's a couple of the things. But yeah, I think the big thing was leadership had determined a lot of what was going to go on. And, like the grocery tax repeal, we worked hard on that, and we did get it passed, but then the governor vetoed that. And anyway, this year it was proposed and it didn't go anywhere. Right now, the fairness in sports and the birth certificate bills, those should have been passed a while ago, a couple weeks ago, so that if the governor had vetoed those, that the House and Senate would still be in office and be able to override that. So it just, it really seemed to me that it was pre-planned, and we weren't able to overcome a lot of that because leadership already had determined what they were going to do pretty much for the session. Sorry, long answer.